Baruch Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'gianu lazman hazeh, to the start of Seder Nashim and Masechtas Yevamos. It's a special schus to learn the first Mishna of Yevamos. It is one of the harder Mishnayos in the entire Shas, and therefore its learning affords us special schusim. As is such, I want to dedicate it specially for the protection of Acheinu Beis Yisrael that are fighting for us and for the people that are in Missile's way, and for the Chaylim they should be healed, and for the hostages they should be recovered, and Yidden throughout the world should be safe. We also have the schia of having with us Reuven Lipsky, continue for his continued vigor and complete health. Reuven ben Tema. We learned for our chaver Shel ben Tuvia, and your father's name?
Asher Eliezer ben Moshe.
Asher Eliezer ben Moshe. The neshama should have an aliyah. We are dedicated by the Fisher family, Linishmas Basi Bas Rabbat, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perl Bas Ruvain. Also, Linishmas Yaakov Moshe ben Zev, Avram ben Yamin Beinish ben Malk Yudis and family, Ufur Shlema, for Eliyahu Moshe ben Chayes Sarah, by the Yoel Klugman and family, also for my Shvera Vigdaya ben Rivka Meir ben Chayes Sarah. They should have a Rufur Shalem, and for Ayelad ben Chava, my Enikel, who's still in the NICU, they should have a Rufur Shalem of B'Seich Shachar Yisrael. Now, my wife saw the diagrams, and she said, "Oh, I remember that from the womb. It's easy stuff." So I said, "Well, she davens usually mincha down here, so I said, if you hear me make a mistake, you could correct me." So she said, she doesn't remember it that well. But there's a great feeling to be able to get this. Because if you get this, you can get anything. Really, it's not that hard. You have to apply yourself. You're going to hear about Yibum throughout Shas. So what's Yibum? Reuven is married to Sarah. If he dies childless, so then in Talmudic times, biblical times, there was a mitzvah for Shimon, the oldest surviving brother, the oldest brother, to be miyabeim his wife. Now normally, Eishes Ach, a brother's wife, is occurs even after the brother's death. But there's a special allowance when the brother dies childless, lahakim la'achiv shem, to perpetuate the memory, for the brother to marry his wife and have a child, and that's lahakim la'achiv shem. If he opts not to do Yibam, or Beis Din might say, it's not a good age, you're too old, she's too young, or vice versa, so then she can't marry anybody until she's released from this, what we call zika, from this attachment, until she has chalitza. She does chalitza, which means that she does a ceremony, which we do today because we don't do yibum, so we do chalitza, lo yaleinu, where she removes the shoe of her brother-in-law, she spits in front of him, and she says, "Kacha ye'asher le'ish," so we do to the man who doesn't want to build his brother's home. The most recent shaykhis I had with a case of chalitza was a man who passed away, who had 2 grown daughters with a family. The world did not know that those 2 daughters were adopted. And since they were adopted, he died childless. And his wife needed chalitza. And she did get chalitza. And it was a revelation to me, why is she having chalitza? And it came out that the daughters were adopted, but that's the halacha. And she wasn't getting she was already an older woman and not well. She wasn't getting married, but she still did the chalitza ceremony. Okay, so that's the mitzvah of Yibum and chalitza. Now, the Masechta opens up with the situation where Ruvain married a woman who is forbidden to his brother. You could marry your niece. So that's the first example of the Mishnah, where Shimon has a daughter, Sarah, and Ruvain marries his niece. Ruvain, when he dies, so Sarah, who's Shimon's daughter, falls to him for Yibam. So he can't do Yibam because it's his daughter. Now, there are 15 examples of where Shimon can't marry the woman because she's a relative to him. Now, but the plot thickens, because Reuven has two wives, Sarah and Dinah. Oh, he has two wives. Why don't you sit down? Where Reuven has two wives, Sarah and Dinah. Now, Sarah is his niece, is Shimon's daughter. So now when Reuven dies, we would think Shimon can't be Miyabim Sarah, but maybe he could be Miyabim Dinah, because Dinah is not related to him. So the din is Chamesh Esrei Noshim Poitris Sarah Sehen. Not only is Sarah Potter from Yibam and Chalitza, but the Sarah Dinah is also, because she's considered a Tzaras Erva. But wait, there's a lot of schus here, Rabbi said. A lot of schus. There's an even advanced case of Tzaras Tzaraseyan. What's a rival of a rival? Oh, very interesting case. There's two brothers, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Right? There's two brothers, surviving brothers. Now, Shimon can't do Yibam because it's his daughter, and his daughter's rival. But Levi could do Yibam. Let's say Levi does Yibam on the Tzara, on Dinah. And Levi has his own wife, Chaya. And then Levi dies. Oh. So now Dinah and Chaya fall back to Shimon again for Yibam. Well, he can't marry Dinah because she was a Tzaras Erva, the Tzara of Sarah. He can't marry Chaya because it's a Tzara of a Tzara. Now, that's the formula of Poitris, their Potter. The Erva, of course, is Potter. The daughter, when she falls to her father, is Potter. The co-wife, Dinah, is Potter. And the Tzara of the Tzara, Chaya, Levi's wife, is also Potter. So that's, and now we're going to see that equation with 15 forbidden relatives to Shimon. The daughter being the easiest one. And we're going to go through 15 cases. Let's see it inside. You can't rush this, but it's a big mitzvah. There can't be anything better that you're going to do in the next 20 minutes than this. It can't be, it's just, it's such a schus to learn this. So Chamesh Esrei Noshim, 15 women, Poitris Tzarei Sehem. Not only are they exempt because they're a relative of Shimon, a daughter, a granddaughter, but also Tzara Seyan, the co-wife. In other words, it's not just Sarah, the daughter, but Reuven's other wife, Dinah, and V'tzara Tzara Seyan. If Levi is Miyabim Dinah, and he has another wife, Chaya, and then Levi dies, the Tzara is also Potter, Mina Chalitza, Mina Yibam, from Chalitza and Yibam, Ad Soif Olam. No matter how many times this could go, there could be a third brother, and there could be a tzara of a tzara of a tzara, ad infinitum. Now, what are the 15 forbidden relations? So the first 6 are very easy. Turn to your sheet, number 1. The Elohein Bitai. So Bitai, with 2 sheets are there. 2 sheets. There's 2 sheets. 2 different sheets. The Elohein. And these are they. Bitoi, right? If that's the first where I say the one, where Reuven married Sarah, who was Shimon's daughter, so that's his daughter. Ubas Bitoi, if Reuven married Malka, who was Shimon's granddaughter, and then Reuven dies, so of course Shimon is not allowed to marry his granddaughter. Or Ubas Benai, or his granddaughter from a son. So that would be a case where Shimon had Daniel, Daniel had Leah, and Reuven married Leah, and then Reuven dies, so that's a case of Bas Benai, his daughter's son. That's easy. The next three is also easy. The next three is it's not Shimon's biological daughter, it's his stepdaughter, or what I call new daughters. So that would be a case where Shimon married Rachel, and Rachel already had children. So those are Shimon's stepdaughters. Shimon is forbidden to his stepchildren also. So if Shimon married Rachel, so if he had Yocheved, so Yocheved is Bas Ishtai. If Reuven marries Yocheved and then Reuven dies, Shimon can't marry Yocheved because it's his stepdaughter. So that's Bas Ishtai. Bas Benah would be if he had a stepson Yisroi, and Yisroi had Tzipporah, so that's Shimon's granddaughter, step-granddaughter from a stepson, and then Reuven married Tzipporah, and Reuven died. Shimon can't marry Tzipporah, Bas Benah, because it's his step-granddaughter, or Bas Bita. That would be a case if Yocheved, his stepdaughter, had Shifra, and then Reuven married Shifra, that would be Bas Bita, that would be his step-granddaughter. That's all forbidden relationships. Now we go to the next level. The next level would be is if Reuven married, here is an interesting thing. Reuven married Shimon's mother-in-law. Now what's the case? So look at the next level on the pictures over here. Shimon married Chaya, right? Chaya's parents were Avram and Sarah. So Shimon's mother-in-law is Sarah. If Reuven married Shimon's mother-in-law, right? Reuven married Shimon's mother-in-law, that's Reuven married Sarah, and then Sarah died, so now Sarah, Shimon's mother-in-law, falls to him. Well, he can't marry his mother-in-law, so that's the next case. That's Chamoisai. Aim Chamoisai would be Sarah's mother, Elisheva. That's the mother of his mother-in-law. And Reuven married Elisheva, and then Reuven died, so now the mother of his mother-in-law falls to Shimon. He's not allowed to marry the mother of his mother-in-law. The mother of his father-in-law, remember his father-in-law, Shimon was married to Chaya, so his father-in-law was Avram. So if Bilhah was the mother of his father-in-law, and then Reuven married Bilhah, and Reuven died, so then that's an example where the mother of his father-in-law falls to him, and that's also forbidden to him. So if you didn't notice, of the 15, we've already dispensed with 9. That's it. We already dispense with 9. Right? So we only have 6 left. Gedalia says, "What are you making a big tzimmus?" Right? We only have 6 left. Come on. Even Daniel says, "This is a piece of cake." Right? Now, the next case is achoisai me'imai. Now, achoisai me'imai is a maternal sister. So Shimon married Reuven's maternal sister. We're going to see, it's very interesting how a brother could marry his brother's sister. Now you'll say, that can't be. It can. Because they both have 2 different sets of parents. So look at the case over here on the paper of Achoisai Me'imai, a maternal sister. What happened over here is Yaakov married Rachel and had Reuven. Leah married Chaim and had Sarah. So you notice that there's no relationship at all between Reuven and Sarah because they have 2 completely different sets of parents. Reuven has Yaakov and Rachel, and Sarah has Leah and Chaim. So they're not related. So Reuven goes ahead and marries Sarah. That's great. But one second. Leah and Yaakov had Shimon. Now that puts Shimon as Yibam material with Reuven's wife. Because you have to be brothers of the same father. It says, Ki Yeshu Achim Yaakov, and we learn it out from Ache Yaakov that they're all brothers of the same father. So Shimon and Reuven are brothers of the same father because they both have the same father, Yaakov. So now Reuven dies. Sarah falls to Shimon to Yibam because Reuven and Shimon are brothers from the same father. So Sarah falls to Shimon for Yibam. But he can't marry Sarah because they have the same mother, Leah. That's Achaisai Me'imai. They're sisters from the same mother. Okay, that's the 10th case. Now we go to the 11th case. What's the 11th case? Achais Imai. This is using again the same principle. This is his mother's sister, his aunt. So now how do we set up this system? Yaakov married Rachel and had Reuven. Right? Yaakov married Leah and had Shimon. So Reuven and Shimon are brothers from the same father, so they have. Reuven married Leah's sister, Shimon's mother's sister. That's not related to him at all. Because even though Leah is Ashes Aviv, but Achos Ashes Aviv from the mother's side is permitted. So therefore, Reuven went ahead and married Sarah. And now Reuven dies. It falls to Shimon, Sarah, who's his mother's sister. He's not allowed to marry his mother's sister. So that's the case of Achais Imai, his mother's sister. Next sheet, finished one sheet already. It's unbelievable how this goes. Before you know it, I can't do this faster than I thought I'd do it. The 12th piece doesn't even, I just wrote it because I wanted it for completion. The 12th case is Achis Ishtai. We know that's, what happened was two brothers married two sisters. As a matter of fact, there are people that hold that it shouldn't be done. I think it's Rabbi Yehuda Chosid, that they said, we do it. As a matter of fact, my wife, her two brothers, Shmuley and Tzvi, are married to two sisters. But there are some that say you shouldn't do it because it precludes Yibam for this case. And what happens over here? Lo Yoleinu, Rachmanu Litzlan. Reuven married Rachel and Shimon married Leah. And then Reuven dies. So now Rachel falls to Shimon. He can't be Miyabba because it's his wife's sister. It's Achais Ishta. So that's the 12th case. 13th case. I know I should slow down. You don't want it to end. I know, I'm sorry. By the way, I did have, I want to tell you, I sweated over this a while. I did have a thought to say a Dvar Torah on Chumash between Mincha and Marav and do this after Marav, not to hold people who are not really learning this. I really had that thought. And I decided that it's good that people should be exposed to this. It's really good. It's because, as I said, it's from the hardest parts of Shas, but it is attainable if you just work on it a little bit. And then the rest of Shas is a piece of cake. Now, well, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I'm not really exaggerating. What we learned in Olos was hard. Okay, the 13th case.
If Leah dies, just if you don't mind, simple case.
Yeah.
If Leah died, Ba'achais Ishtay.
Right.
So could Shimon be Miyav and Rachel then?
If Leah,
only because of Kedushin.
If
Achais Ishtay.
We'll see that if let's say Reuven had another wife, Dinah, and Rachel died, so then Shimon could be Miyav and Dinah.
Sarah.
Yeah.
But in my case, would it be okay?
Yes, Because it's permitted afterwards. Since b'shas nefila it's permitted, so here, but b'shas nefila it is permitted.
No, I'm saying let's say that Leah dies after.
Oh, no, that's no good. That's no good. Once it's b'shas nefila, it becomes eishes ach shaloi b'mkay mitzvah. It has an isakaris.
And then not even a chalitza?
No, then.
Shimon. Because if it's an Arab, so there's no.
No. In the event that b'shas nefila there was a chiyuv, so then you have to do chalitza.
Yeah, if there's not.
Yeah, if there's not, then there's nothing. Kol she'roi le'bil roi le'chalitza, kol she'en roi le'bil yibam ein roi le'chalitza. It's now. Yud Gimel. The 13th case is Eishis Achiv Me'imai. Now here, this is teaching you a chiddush. Remember, I told you there's only yibam if they have the same father. If they're brothers from the same mother, there's no yibam, because it says in the pasuk we learn out achva mibnei Yaakov, and by Yaakov they're all brothers of the same father. They had 4 different mothers, but they were all brothers of the same father. This case is going to show us that Sarah at one time was a brother's wife only from the mother. At that time, she became usher as Eishes Ach Shaloi B'mkay Mitzvah, and then even if later on she becomes an Eishes Ach Me'aviv, she retains the Isser always, since she was a maternal Eishes Achiv. That sounds more difficult than it is. Let's look at the case. Here we have a situation where Rachel married Yaakov and had Reuven. Avram married Rachel and had Shimon. So you see that Reuven and Shimon in this case are only brothers from the same mother, because they have the same mother Rachel, but they have different parents, Avram and Yaakov. To complicate matters, Yaakov married Chaya and had Levi. So you notice over here, there's no relationship at all between Shimon and Levi. No relationship at all between Shimon and Levi, right? Because Shimon is from Avram and Rachel, and Levi is from Yaakov and Chaya. They have no relationship at all. Now look at the numbers over here, where it says 1. The first thing that happened is Shimon married Sarah. Then Shimon died. When Shimon died, not a case of Yibam, Levi liked Sarah. So Levi married Sarah. He can, because they're not related. Levi is from Yaakov and Chaya, and Shimon is from Avram and Rachel. So Levi married Sarah. Oh, and now Levi dies without children. So Sarah falls to Reuven Liyibam. They're brothers of the same father, Yaakov. But Reuven can't be miyabim Sarah, although it's now Eishes Achiv Me'aviv, because at one time Sarah was Eishes Achiv Me'imai, when Sarah was married to Shimon, and they had the same mother, Rachel. Since Sarah was once Eishes Achiv Me'imai, even though now she's Eishes Achiv Me'aviv, you can't marry her. It's really a remarkable case. Case 14. It's almost finished. It's really scary. Eishes Achiv Shaloi Haya B'Olama. This is another thing. The only time there's Yibum is if the 2 brothers live together at the same time. Because it says, Ki yeshvu achim yachtav. They had to live together. Here we're having a fascinating case. What happened is this is simple. Yaakov and Leah, they had 3 boys, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. However, not all at the same time. Yaakov and Leah are going to have a mazinikel. What happens over here is Reuven marries Sarah. And the first thing that happens is Reuven dies. after Reuven dies, Yaakov and Leah decided they want to have another child to be Mamale, the son that they lost, and they had Levi. So notice that Reuven and Levi are Achiv Shaloi Haya B'Olama. Levi is a brother that was never in the world together with Reuven. Right? Now, what happens next? Shimon is Miyabim Sarah. Oh. Shimon is Miyabim Sarah, because when Reuven died, Shimon lives with Reuven, so he's Miyabim Sarah. Now Shimon dies. Now Shimon and Levi are together in the world. So we would think that, well, now Levi could be Miyabim Sarah. He lived together with Shimon. No, but originally Sarah was married to Reuven, and Levi did not live together with Reuven. So Sarah is an Eishes Ach Shelo Yaya B'Olamai from the first time he married Reuven. She married Reuven. Even though now that she married Shimon, she's not an Eishes Ach Shelo Yaya B'Olamai. But since she once was an Eishes Ach Shelo Yaya B'Olamai, so she is forbidden to for Levi to be miyabim her. The 15th case,
Can I ask a question?
1 second please.
Okay.
The 15th case is kalosai. Kalosai is simple, a daughter-in-law. So what's the case? What happened is that Shimon had a son, Chaim, who married Sarah. Sarah was his daughter-in-law. Then Chaim died. And Reuven married his brother's daughter-in-law. He's not allowed to marry his brother's daughter. He could surely marry his brother's daughter-in-law. So Reuven married Sarah, and then Reuven died. So now Sarah, Shimon's former daughter-in-law, falls to him. He can't marry his former daughter-in-law, and that's the 15th case. Now, Hari Elu, all these cases, Poitris Sarasayan, Vitzaras Sarasayan, Menachalitzim, and the Yibam, Ad Soifa. However, Vikulan, in all these cases, Imesu. Remember, let's go back to the first sheet where Reuven had two wives, Sarah and Dinah. Sarah is the daughter, or the granddaughter, or the stepdaughter, or the daughter-in-law. If the Sarah died before Reuven dies, Vikulan Imesu, if Sarah died, or she was a ketana, and a ketana that was married off by her mother or her brother could just refuse the marriage. Or nisgarshu, or they got divorced, and then Reuven died. So at the time of his death, Dinah was not a tzaras ever. Or shenimtzu islandess, or Sarah, the daughter-in-law, the granddaughter, the stepdaughter, was found to be an islandess, that she couldn't have children, which rendered the marriage a mekach tais, and therefore voided the marriage. So now Dinah is not a tzaras erva. So in that case, tzaras saying mutaris, the co-wife is mutter. However, you should know what miyun means, that she's a ketana. If she's ketana, she can't have a child. And therefore, if she can't have a child, that means that the case of miyun and the case of an islandess where she can't have a child cannot work in the case of chamoisai, Aim Chamaisai or Aim Chamav, because by definition, if she's a mother-in-law, she already had a child. If she's a mother of a mother-in-law, she had a child, or if she's a mother of a father-in-law, she already had a child. So, V'yati Yachal Leimer b'Chamaisai or b'Aim Chamaisai or b'Aim Chamav, by a mother-in-law, a mother of a mother-in-law, a mother of a father-in-law, shenimtzu islandless shemenu. You can't have the case where you find her to be an islandless, because then she couldn't have had a child, or Mian, because she couldn't issue Mian, be a katana, and have a child, because a katana can't have a child. Now, Mishna Beis. Ketzad, now, Mishna Beis, you just explained what we said already. Ketzad Poitreis Torah saying, what does it mean that the daughter also exempts the co-wife? So that's simple. If Sarah, who is Shimon's daughter, or Shimon's granddaughter, or Shimon's mother-in-law, is married to his brother Reuven, and he has another wife, Reuven has a wife, Dinah, V'meis, and then Reuven dies childless, Kishem Shebitay P'tura, just like Shimon can't be Miyabim Sarah, his daughter, Kach Tzarasa P'tura. So Dinah, the co-wife, is also pot. Now, what's an example of Tzara saying? Oh, so we said, if let's say there's a third brother, Levi, Holchat Tzaras Bitay, if Dinah goes ahead, V'niseis la'achiv hasheni, and is miyabim Levi. Levi could be miyabim because it's not, Sarah is not his daughter, so therefore Dinah is not a Tzaras erva. In this case, he went ahead and was miyabim Dinah, the Tzara, and he has another wife, Chaya. V'lo isha acheres, and he has another wife, Chaya. V'meis, and then Levi dies. So Kishem shit Tzaras Bitay Petura, just like Shimon can't be miyabim Dinah because it's a Tzaras erva. Kak Tzaras Sarasa Petura. So also Leah, which is the rival of Dinah, is also Petura. And this could go ad infinitum how many brothers there are. Now, what does it mean? Keitzad imesu tzarasein mutaris. What's the meaning of that? If the daughter dies, or the granddaughter, or the mother-in-law, the daughter-in-law, or the sister of the mother dies, Tzaraseim Mutaris. Remember, Reuven has two wives, Sarah and Dinah. Sarah, Shimon's daughter, or daughter-in-law, or granddaughter, or stepdaughter, is married to his brother Reuven. And Reuven has another wife, Dinah. If Sarah dies, or got divorced, and then Reuven dies. So at the time that Reuven dies, Dinah was not a Tzaras Erev anymore. Then Sarasa Muteris. Now, the last case of the Mishnah is, let's say that Sarah was a Ketana. Since Sarah was a Ketana and she could have issued a refusal, that means she was married off by a brother or a mother, and therefore the Kiddushin is not the Raisa. She could have issued a refusal. So her marriage to Reuven is only rabbinical, while Dinah's marriage to Reuven, she's an adult, is biblical. So biblically, she falls liyibam, and the erva of Sarah is not strong enough to push away the biblical attachment of yibam, because the marriage to the erva is only d'Rabbanan. So then Sarasa, we have she cannot do Yibam because it's Tzaras Erva Midrabanan, but we say Chayletzes, Dinah with Shimon, they do Chalitza, V'loi Misyabemes, and not Yibam. Now I want you to know that there are going to be some rough spots in this Masechta, but a lot of the Masechta is much, much easier than this Mishnah. And it's very rewarding. I want to thank you all for the patience of sitting through this, and you'll forgive me if I was matriach you a long time. I also want to announce that it's a big night tonight in the shul. At 7:30, there's an Avos Yisrael group, and Mrs. Poulter, who is very world-renowned, she does this all over the world, is coming and introducing the Avos Yisrael concept and doing a vision board with the women. It's very interesting. So if your wife didn't know, even though it says RSVP, she can come. It's 7:30. We are giving the women the shul, the Daf Yomi, which I'm sure everybody is going to want to come to. It's very interesting, Gemara and Asar Yochsen. It's a piece of cake compared to this. The Daf Yomi will be upstairs in the residence in my dining room. The door will be open. Come to the left. Come to the entrance to the left. The door will be open. Come into our dining room at 8 o'clock. The shir will be at 8 o'clock. And thank you very much for coming. Rav Chanani ben Akasha Maratzav Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakos Yisrael L'Fikar Chir B'Lem Torah Mitzvahs Shenem Adinai Chafetz L'Man Tzidkoi Yagdil Torah V'Yadeh.